Alright, so for today, let's try the fifth day of Advent of Code, print Q. And I thought, well, judging by how the problem statement seems and by the puzzle input, I thought maybe it's gonna be a cool idea to try some more esoteric programming language. For instance, Prolog, because it's like a logic programming language. I haven't used it in like 5 years and I used it only once or twice for like uni. And from what I remember, it sucks. It's like it's doesn't make any sense. So I thought maybe it's gonna be fun to try that. And if we fail to solve it using Prolog, I'm just gonna use um, common Lisp because someone suggested it, and I think it's a fair idea. I don't know common Lisp. I mean, I don't know it at all, right? I haven't used it, but if we fail at this, maybe that one is gonna be easier to use, hopefully. Like, I know it's functional, right, or something like that, so shouldn't be a big deal. Like, I'm all when trying new languages, I'm only worried about reading and parsing the input. Like, that's the main issue, not actually the logic, because even for Prog, I have no idea how you read input. So I'm just gonna try to hard code some stuff just to see if it makes sense. And if it does make sense, then we can continue with it. So should be interesting. So let's see what happens. Right. So first, let's go through the problem statement. Right. So we did some search on series like last time, I guess, from what I remember, and we are printing some papers, right? And they have this sleigh launch safety manual, and they won't print correctly. And from what I see, they have some protocols for specific order of pages, right? So we have XY, like the ordering of the pages, which means that if both pages are printed, if X and Y are printed, they must be in the XY order. It doesn't have to be X and immediately after Y, but it has to be X and then at some point we have to find Y. That's what it says, right? So we need to produce. So the elf has for you both the pages, the page ordering rules and the pages to produce each update. Right, so I mean this entire thing is our puzzle input, but can't figure out if the updates are in the right order. So what does the elf mean by updates? Well, each line from this part of the input are the updates, right? So we have first update, second one, and so on. So we have to figure out if the first update is correct, the second one is correct, and so on. And right, and here it explains like why each rule is correct and incorrect. So that is not really important. You can see that here, for instance, this is not correct because we have this 2913 rule somewhere here. Imagine it would be pretty hard to do it manually, but 2913, right? And it violates the other rule, so it's not the correct order. And then when we get all the correct, I guess all the correct orderings, right? So for some reason the elves also need to know the middle page number of each updated of each update being printed, because you are currently only printing the correctly ordered updates. You will need to find the middle page number of the correctly ordered update, right? So these are the correctly ordered updates. We take the middle pages and we have to add them together, right? And the puzzle input, it says that it's gonna be huge, so that's why we need that language that is gonna be able to parse the input as well. So I have no idea how Prolog parses the input, but we can try to just hard code some examples there just to get a feeling of how the language would work, because I think it's pretty funny. And then if we don't see a way to read input, then yeah, we can just go to trying a common Lisp, because why not? We can see if we can figure it out in that one. So yeah, what is the sum of the middle page numbers? Perfect. So we have the problem. So let's see if we can actually figure it out. So first, what would be my idea to solve it with Prolog is having some kind of so if you know Prolog at all, there are some not sure where it's explained, but maybe in this likes.pl example they have on like GitHub, it's something like you define these I have no idea how it's called. I think they are like predicates or something. So you define these predicates, right? And these are always true. Like anything that doesn't contain variables is always true from what I remember. And then, or anything that ends with a dot, I think it was true, but I don't remember. And then we have these likes, which you can see it takes in Sam, and it takes like variable starts with capital, right? So that's the idea from what I remember. And then you have this operator, and I think that this operator is this thing is true if this stuff is true, and comma means end. So likes Sam likes food if food is Indian and food is mild. So if here we put like curry, it's gonna search, okay, do we have Indian curry? Yes, so that's true. And do we have mild curry? Doesn't look like we have. So then this one is false, right? So the total is gonna be false, and likes is not gonna like that. But something else that's pretty cool you can do in Prolog is you can put a question mark here for food, and it's gonna tell you all the options that satisfy these likes for Sam. So that's maybe we can even like curl this thing. So let me just make dir day05, and let's go to day05. And can I get this thing? Okay, nice. So if I do sweep pl and then likes, I think it loads it. I'm not sure, but hopefully it's loading it. Okay. So what if I say Indian curry, right? That's the, and then I have to use, like, I don't know how to stop it. Let's see if they have an example. Okay, whoa, it broke. So pwd dot. Do I have to put a dot afterwards? So this is how you do hello world. Okay. Indian curry. Okay, I have to put a dot. Okay, and if I put, I remember that you had to put like question mark, or maybe it was like X actually. Yeah, and then semicolons to iterate them. Okay, that's it, not question mark, but capital X or something, and it gives you what those variables can be. So for instance, if I say likes Sam curry, it's gonna be false. But if I say, okay, but what can Sam like? And he likes dal, whatever and whatever. Oh, quite a few things. I guess it was more stuff, yeah. Chinese food or Ita. So that's how you make maybe ors, right? So he likes Indian mild food or Chinese or Italian. but I'm pretty sure you can combine them together with something like a semicolon, which means or probably. So yeah, let's see. So how would I like, how can we use that for our stuff here? So I guess I would define something like before, and then we need something like this. So this would be okay. How do we define it then? I guess I'm not sure if you can define stuff in the PL itself. I think you have to define it in the thingy. So hold. Okay. So anyway, let's see if we can actually do something about it. So we have all of this whatever, like let's say we don't care about it. Oh, you can actually just run it in the okay, let's try to define something like before. Alright, so I think it should work because all of these are defined similarly, like before, and we had what 47 and 53. Though I'm not sure if you can actually have numbers, but let's see if before x, y. You can actually do that, right? Which is pretty cool. So yeah, like what we need to do is to parse the file somehow and generate all of these befores, right? So 47 needs to be before 53. That's what it means, right? So how do we put comments? 47 is before 53, right, in the pages. So next up is this list. So how can we take a list like this and actually verify it's in the correct order? Well, we take the first item, and the first item must be before all of these, right? That's the rule it must follow. So we have one item and the list, and this item must satisfy before for itself being the first item, and this list each item being the second item, right? So we can think of an intermediate rule like bef before many or something, and it's gonna be something like a is our first item, or I guess x, and how do you make a list? That's the real question. How do you make a list? Because prolog iterate list, let's see, because that's okay, so that's how you define a list, right? I mean, if you're familiar with Haskell, in Haskell it's like x-axis, that's how you destructure a list. But I guess in Prolog you'll use the brackets, then this is the head and this is the tail, right? So that's how you destructure the list. So now the question is before many. So I guess that's not really true though, because 75 and 47 isn't necessarily a rule, right? So that's not important. It's important to not break the rule. If we don't So that's what it's important actually, right? Finding if we break the rule. So maybe we have to do the reverse, like 53 and 47, right? And this is actually before, like, does it break before is equal to true when it breaks the rule, right? And then before many searches for all the possibilities that it breaks a rule, and if it's false it means that it's fine. Maybe that's what we have to do, but let's see. So before many, if we have an empty list, like you can see here, it says it's empty. I guess that returns true, right? So if we have only a page, let's not mess too much. So if it's if this thing is true, then it's fine, the page is fine. Let's do it like that. All right, so if it's a single page and it doesn't have anything afterwards, it's fine, right? But what if we have before many? Well, the rule is x must be, so here this is like, this thing is true when this part that I'm gonna write is true. So here, let's say if x is last page, then okay, right? Then true. Basically, that's what this means. But here, when is this thing fine? Well, when before x and h is true, or this rule doesn't exist. But when is it false? Well, when h is before x. So that's when it's false, right? In case h is before x, so we know that's when it fails, basically. Okay, do we have if in this language? No. Would have been useful maybe. So that's like when this thing is false, right? Problem is we don't really have like, we don't know all the rules that are defined. So if this thing is true, then instantly we know everything is false, right? That's the idea. So the idea is that if this thing is true, then everything is false. So if it's false, then it's fine. It doesn't matter if it's false. So let's do something like not before hx prolog not. Is there a logical not? It is. So I can do something like this. Or how do you do not? Jesus, do they really not have a not? Ever? Okay, the documentation is not. Okay, perfect. True if goal is true. Wow. True if goal cannot be proven. So I guess this is a goal then. Interesting. Okay, anyway, so that's what I think this should be, right? So if we cannot prove that h is before x, then this thing is fine. If we can prove that, then we are basically cooked. And here I need to say comma, I guess, looking at this comment, and we have to iterate to the next one. So before many xt, right? So if this thing is true, and then all of this is true as well, then it's fine. So that's what I think this thing should do. So let's see what would happen if we load this file. Oh shit, singleton variables. Let's hold this bad boy. Singleton variables, what the fuck? Line 50. It's like what? It's not used or something? Oh, I forgot to put dot. Okay, fair enough. It works. So if I say before xy, as we tried before, it says it gives us these values. If we do before many and we put x and an empty list, it's like anything is true, right? 1, 2, and so on. But what if we try 47? Right, that's the first thing. What if we try 47 and we put 53 in the list? It's true. Like what if we try 69? Or I guess I didn't 69 here. Still true, because they are not dependent on each other, right? But what if we put 53 and 47? Yo, this is actually pretty cool. But what if we do 1, 2, 3? It's true. And if we put 47 in here, it's false. Man, this is actually funny to try and do. Okay, so that's my idea, right? But we have to do before many for each item in the list. So what does that mean? Well, you see how we have this rule, right? Let's go again. So you see how we have that rule with before many. What we have to do is try 75 and then put a tail. So as I said, 75, and then we put, let me just copy it from Advent of Code, and then we put a tail. Right, that's the first one. So we try that. Wait, why does it show two things though? That's weird. Wait, before it didn't do. Huh. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. Did it do that before? I'm confused. Like, I don't remember having to click enter. Like, Jesus, what? Like, see, it printed like that. The fuck? Huh, anyway, whatever. Let's see. So, as I said, what we have to do is basically do this thing, then we, oh my god, wait, we have to put 47 here and then remove it from the list, right? And then do it for 61, and then do it for, oh, and then do it for 53, and that's all, right? What was the rule that fails? 53 and 47. So okay, I mean, I guess it did this before, I don't remember. So how are we gonna do actually that that rule, the entire rule? So what do they call it? Correct page. So we are gonna get head and tail. If the list is empty, it's true. And if we have head and tail, then what we want to do is before many of H and T, and also correct of the tail, right? Basically, this is gonna iterate our rule, right? So, for instance, if we start sweepl, we can do correct, then have a list, and I think this one, no, this one is fine, right? It's true, but I don't know why it's showing false at the end. Like, huh? I didn't change anything. Anyway, doesn't matter. So that's the idea, right? And now the problem comes from actually parsing this entire thing. Like, how are we gonna parse it? No idea. So let's try to do something like, let's try to replace. So I'm gonna do something like digit star, then vertical bar, then digit star, and then we are gonna replace this thing with before first one, second one, dot. So this is gonna be, that's what we need to generate somehow, right? And then we have the correct and before many, and then if we go into, dude, come on, hold, give up basically. So this one, it says is correct, right? Correct. Ah, shit, I forgot about the, it's true, and it said that this one is false. So if we try correct, it's false. So you can see the thing works, right? Now the problem is, how are we gonna read stuff, right? How are we gonna read the stuff? Like Prolog read from stdin. Like, how do we parse a read line to codes? Like, that's the hard part, right? That's the actual hard part, read lines to codes. Yeah. So that's, this kind of sucks, right? Because it's gonna be really hard to do this. Repeat, read line to codes, raise L. So user input is, I guess, Prolog read number. Oh my god. Int sum. Hey, that's what I don't like about see in, tell, out, in sum 0, told, seen. Built-in predicates. Primitive character IO. And maybe we need to write a new line. Put char. Okay, interesting. So how can we actually get byte? Get char. Read the current input stream and unify whatever. Copy. So get code. And it's also going to be interesting, how do we generate the before, right? Like that's also an interesting question. Read the current input stream and unify code. Okay, what would happen if we try to run this? Oh, and if we say align, it reads them as characters. Okay, that's interesting. A read line to codes. That's interesting. And if we try to do get byte user input L, yeah, if we try get byte, okay, that sucks. So get byte, I don't know why. Read the next byte and unify byte with an integer. That's get code. Maybe I already used the. Okay, so we can read character by character. That's interesting. I mean, we need to read line by line, obviously. Oh, but how, like, see, that's the problem. How do we make a read integer? Like, that's the hard part. And how do we make like Prolog generate a rule from input? I don't know if it's called a rule. Like pass user input. Or like make a rule true from input from stdin or something. Dude, come on, search that. Yeah. Okay, I mean, I'm completely lost, right? So because I'm not sure what to look for. Phrase your grammar L. So I guess repeat does something, right? So we can have something like part 1 and then something like this, like repeat, read lines to codes, phrase your grammar. Phrase. So that's missing. Prolog generate phrase from stbean. Maybe this one. Input stream, current stream, integer object. I mean, it's the same thing I was looking at. Between C is digit. So interesting. There is this arrow thing I haven't seen before. So get code, and this looks like a pattern match. So this is the if statement then. Oh, so it looks like a then. So get code. Okay. So this is get code C. If C is -1, then we do something. Okay, let's try to do something like this. So what is S then? S is probably like the sum. Right, so S is gonna be our result. Let's first just focus on getting how many are correct, right? Because maybe it is what it is. So we have this one, right? We read a single character, I would assume. We read a single character. All right. This one, like the input parsing is what sucks, right? I mean, this was pretty nice. Like read the entire line. Read the entire line, right? Because we can do stuff like, so it reads the entire line, and then we have stuff like, can I say line is equal to, so if we get code, enter is 10, right? Would it make sense to say that a line is completely empty? And that's like if you see the input, that's where it splits. Okay, or maybe I can do stuff like parse before. Right, parse before, but like that's the problem. Well, maybe before has to be actually the thing that parses, right? So let's say it's gonna be A and B, and it's gonna be equal to parse before A and B, right? Something like this. It doesn't look too efficient if you'd ask me, but maybe that's how it's supposed to work. And then parse before, okay, maybe I should call them X and Y actually, but X. x, y, x, y. So like in here, I would do something like read the entire line. Oh, read string. Read line to string. Okay, that's actually something that would be nice. A read line to string. Let's see if we try to do a read line to string user input b. Hello there. Nice, so we can actually read line to string. That's actually useful, I guess. Exclamation point, no idea what it does. Fail. Okay, so line 0 is not equal to end of file probably. Then line 0 is equal to line. But you know, it's bag of. Okay, this is crazy. Bag of. Oh, so bag of, maybe it's like all the things that worked or something. All right. But what if I want to do something with the input? What if I wanted to do something with the input? Okay, let's try read, or I guess parse before makes sense, and we just need to get, but that's the problem. What do we get out of the parse before? Like parse before needs to read the entire part of that input, and then if it gets, let's say, 40, 47 and 53 as the x and y, it needs to check that. But we cannot just run parse before every time. That's weird. So then what it means is we actually need to change our logic here. We need to get the list of inputs, right? So we need to get like a list of lists or something like that. This is a tail, and here we are gonna have a and b. We have to change our rule, right? So this thing is gonna be x is equal to a and y is equal to b, or before x, y, tail. I think that's what makes more sense. And before many needs to take the befores. Let's call them BS, befores. And I guess here it doesn't matter, but here it's gonna be the befores, right? So we pass them here and here. We need to add this list, and then correct is gonna be like empty a b, and then we pass here the befores and here the befores, right? So that's, I guess, how we are supposed to do it. Wait, where? Line 2? No, line 0, huh? Oh, dot. Okay, so if I do now, let's say, if we do the correct thingy and we add a list with like 1, 2, it says true. But if I say that, 61, 13, it should still be true. But if I put 13, 61, it's gonna be false. So that's how we are supposed to do it. We are supposed to pass in the input into the function. Nice. So we figured that out. Okay. Now this thing only says if the input is correct or not, so that's still fine. That's still fine. We'll need a way to get the middle of the input, but let's see how we can parse the numbers actually, because that's the most important part right now. Right. So we have a main function, and then we have this bag of. So we have line, streamline, maybe we can just use this read line to string. Maybe we can just use this thing to parse. Right, so what if we have it like this? I don't know what wn means, but and let's try to run this stuff. So it's not called thing, I think it's called likes. Hi there. Right, but our input is gonna be like this. So if we temporary and we put that and we cat tmp into this thing, we see like each line, right? Not sure about this stuff. I mean, I'm not sure about the format. Like, can't I just print it? Like, what does wn mean? But this is not how you'd really do it. Probably there is another example. Okay, so maybe this one is better. Let's see. Read string, then split string by lines. Let's see if we can just try to use that. I mean, I don't like that we see all the numbers like this. It makes me... Maybe that means without white spaces. Okay, that's like difference of new line. Ah, so it's like W's and then, yeah. But what if I put it like this? Whatever. Anyway, so at least we get the lines, right? Split string. So read string gets all of this stuff. Okay, makes sense. What about split string? Split string takes in separator, and pad characters. So let's do read input. Read input is gonna give us the B's, right? The befores. Let's call it befores, and the, what do they call these things? Updates. And the updates. That's what I'd like to get from this one. So split string is going to be actually splitting on double new line, because here we have a double new line, if you see that. So we try to split by a double new line. Our separators. What is pad characters? Pad characters, whatever, let's remove the pad characters, right? So we get the chunks, right? We get 2 chunks. Okay, we get 2 chunks. Now question is, there was this example with an if statement, right? I could do something like I could do something like comma, and then let's try, let's say, I mean, how can I pattern match right now on that? I guess I could have another function like parse input 2, and it takes in chunks, befores, updates, and that's it. So this is gonna be like parse input, and parse input 2 is gonna be like lines, or I guess the string for B, the string for U, befores and updates. Right, and here we have to split string B by new line, and split string, let's see, break string into substrings. The sepchar argument provided is a separator is more, whatever, that's true. Sep and pad do not have common character. If sep and padchar are equal, sequences of adjacent separator act as a single separator. Are removed. Perfect. I mean, that's what I want. So I guess it makes sense to use new line, and this is gonna give us befores, and then we split string U on new line as well on updates, and that should give us parse input, user input, befores and updates. And here, what if we do befores? Right, what if we show that? Shit. Singleton variables, what do you mean? On line 9. Ah, because I don't use updates. Let's make it unused. Shit, what? Excuse me, if I do chunks, let's delete this so it doesn't complain. Okay, interesting. So I mean it parses that. Oh, I put, yeah, I guess. I mean, no, I did parse input to chunks befores updates. Ah, okay. That's pretty interesting. So it says false for some reason. I don't know how to format a string probably, because that's probably the problem. Like, where is format? Prolog format. So format. Shit, that's okay. I mean, Prolog index list. I guess that's access specific member of list. And 0. Oh, there is an end. Okay, let's try chunks. Actually removing all of this stuff, and here we're gonna have the chunks. And is it a thing like end 0, and if we pass 0 before x and we put x here, is gonna be oops. So what is it split by? Why does it split by a single line when here I put 2 new lines? That's kind of annoying. So split string takes a separator chars. Oh, okay, so I was wrong about that. So it's doing, fuck, this is the separator, so it's working like this. So this is gonna give us lines, befores and updates, right? So then we have to make like a proper thingy here, befores. So what are we gonna do here is parse input to lines befores updates dot, and here parse input to is gonna be head, tail, right, befores and updates. And what we want to do is basically append to these lists, right? We want to append into befores and append into updates the head depending on what value it is. So maybe I need another number here like 0. And here is going to be 0. So if we have 0, we append to befores. If we have, or maybe it's going to be easier to just have something like a lines prime, like lines 0. So my idea is I want to go through the lines until we find this double new line from here, right? Until we find the double new line, and that's when we stop. It means we read all of this. So we'll have parse input until new line, and this function should probably be like head tail, the list, let's call it list, and here we are gonna have what exactly? Probably nothing, or out. But for out we need to put the T there. Shit, why is it so weird? So I wanted to output the lines there. Right, like if h is equal to new line, then we have to put T in here. Otherwise, Prolog append to list. How do I append to a list? Append. So I guess when is this one true? And here the list is gonna be, so we have X, Y, Z. Okay, so let's see the idea. Let's see the idea. So parse until new line, or until double new line. Or I guess parse befores, right? Let's do parse befores. So how do we parse the befores? Well, we have head tail, right? And here we also return the tail. And here for this list, we have to append to our list, we have to append the head. Right, something like it looks extremely weird, but I think that's how you're supposed to do it. So imagine that this is the result, right? This is the result. So T is gonna be what we want to have as line 0. So what do we want to have there is the tail of the lines without the first element, basically. And in befores, we want to put the first item. All right, so that's the idea. And list is going to be like that. And we need a base case as well, but let's worry about that later. So how do we parse? Or here we have two options though. If h is equal to new line, then we have to stop. So how can I do something like h is equal to new line, then it is what it is or something? Or how do I? No. Here it's the case of shit. Actually, that's interesting. I guess it's not really the best case. So if h is a new line, we have to stop and say it's true. Right, and I just put a dot. Like if h is new line, it's true. Oh, so then it's just that, right? Otherwise, if h is not a new line, I kind of have to append h to my list. I kind of have to append this h to my list, right? But it's like if h is equal to new line, I have to stop. I don't have to go recursively into parts before. That's what I mean. And that's why I wanted to have something like h is equal to new line. And then you just stop. What is Prolog exclamation point? What does exclamation mark? What does it do? Prolog continues to. So it's like backtrack related. I don't know. Shit. Like finding the solution was extremely easy, but actually parsing the input is what fucks me over. So yeah, it's annoying. But yeah, we'll try to get it. Like it's annoying, but maybe I'll get it somehow. So yeah, like the problem is I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here. Like the errors are kind of annoying. Yeah. So I need an example of Prolog if statement. If in Prolog. So we have this if x is less than 0, it fails. But so like this maybe, and this is the otherwise, right? And if otherwise happens, I would need to append h to list. So do something like append Prolog append. Is there a function of? Oh, nice. There is a function append. Perfect. So append abcx. Okay. So here I put the the list, what do I want to append, and the output. So append last and okay, perfect. So I put here the list. So my list is gonna be like list 0, and you'll see why I call it list 0 in a second. Then H, which is the last item I want to add, and then the output, which is gonna be list. Right, and you might ask, okay, but why list 0, right? Do I have to put a dot there? I don't know. But here, like, list is not defined, so that's weird as well. I mean, we'll see. And if it's like otherwise, we parse befores tail because we appended H, list 0, and whoops, what do we put for T? I'm a bit confused. So parse befores, we have H and T. So this is the expected output, let's say. I guess so. Here lines, if it's like some lines, here it should also be HT though, regardless. So we have like a list of lines, right? The lines, and then the list of befores, then we have the list of output lines. I don't know about that. I don't know about the list of lines. So then if H is equal to a new line, like this H is new line, then we should end it. That's what I think. And if it's not a new line, then we call append on list 0 with the H item, and the list is the result because it's here. And then we call to parse befores again, and here we pass T. So the next list. Maybe, yeah, I don't know about this T0 here. Maybe we can figure it out somehow later on. So question is, will this compile? Let's try. Let's actually try to comment all of this out and try to just do the parse function. Whoa. So it says unexpected end of close. So how do I say here true? Shit. Like I cannot really, I'm not sure where. So on line 19 is the error, right? Line 19, 22. That's a weird number. 26. Yeah, but I mean, like what if I put, oh, I forgot about that. But what if I put it like this, right? And I do parse befores, and then we have a list of like 1, 2, and then a new line, and then a 3, and that's it. And then I pass in x, 2 and 1. So that looks good, right? That looks good. What if I run? What happens if I do? Okay, whatever. I guess I don't really care that it fails like that afterwards. Hopefully. Okay, what if we try to use if? Maybe it's because I forgot about the parentheses. Prolog match string. Okay, so then h is equal to this thing, then wait, then true, otherwise we do this stuff. Is it something like this maybe? Oh. What? Do this, do something, I mean, yeah, but that's what I tried, and it's like, right, that's what I tried. Do something else, do this, a is equal to b. Do I have to use only one equals? Oh, I mean the Day04, Day05. What am I saying? So if I do parse befores, I mean it works, but if I put, see, it shows something weird. Anyways, let's leave it like this. Let's leave it like this. Maybe what if I say false or fail? Whoops. Okay, let's leave it to, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's gonna work, I don't know. Okay, so then we have parse input, right? We have this parse input function, and parse input actually does parse befores. So I'm gonna put stuff like that there. So if I cat, it doesn't work. And because I don't know how to stop this, like why is it showing so many cases though? Okay, so parse, I guess I don't have like parse befores, like empty list and list is true or something. On a singleton variables list, so that can be empty. Nice, so it looks like that worked actually. Weirdly enough, it worked. Did it though? I mean, they're in the, wait, what the fuck? No, it didn't. So why does it go until, if I put here like new line, it still goes? Okay, I'm gonna do something like this. So if it's not a new line, then you go. But it's still but it still goes, right? That's weird. So why doesn't it just stop? Right, that's weird. Like, I don't really care the order of them. I just wanted to have a list only with the stuff that's before the new line. So that's extremely weird. So append. Like, if I have an or, I expect that if this thing is true, it doesn't continue with this. So yeah, that's What if I say this specific string? Huh. So maybe it's actually empty. It's not. What the actual fuck? It's not gonna be two new lines. See, like this one worked. It stopped at this. So what? Okay, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So if I say, what if I say here end 0? So what? How was the end? Prolog and 0. Index list element. So index, I said 21. Before's x, and then I can format w whatever n x like this, right? Wait, what the fuck is this? Shows me 47. Because I actually read them, yeah. So I would say 22 then. Wait, what? Let's not show this part then. Let's not do that. Let's do just lines. So let's have maybe like just parse or read lines. It's going to be just reading the lines. So that's the next one. What if I say 21? 20? Oh my god, so it skips the line. Okay. Oops. So it actually skips that line. And now it's empty. And now it's that. Okay, so I have to not put there that trash. Okay, perfect. So what if I say now Okay, let's parse befores, and we pass in the lines and befores. Right, and here let's say befores. Will it show? Yeah, nice. So it shows. Wait, I have to put that. So I have to shit. Oh my god. Is it gonna be empty? Yeah, it is empty. Okay, so that's how we are gonna parse the befores. Jesus fucking god. Like, it took, as I said, like, it's gonna take more time to just read the input and find the solution. But I mean, parse updates. And funny thing is, we are not even done yet. We should also split h by so split by bar and then parse numbers. I mean, let's try to do that with parse updates, because parse updates might be more interesting, like easier. Parse updates. Okay, so for parse updates, Prolog length of list length. Can I just get the list length and then maybe Prolog drop n list and numbers from a list? I mean, we have remove n. We can just copy paste some of these functions. So shorter list n, perfect. And I also need list length. No, like, let's just pretend this is the stdlib. I mean, list length, right? It gets a list, an accumulator, and while I mean, I would call this one tail, but that's just me. Right, it makes sense. I don't like this stuff anyway. So it's list length is something like, if the list is empty, you have 0, right? It makes sense. And here it's if you have head and tail, you do n plus 1. Oh, L is n plus 1. That's a nice feature though, because here you would have to say L plus 1 L, but I'm not sure that works if you don't use this part, right? But doing it like that actually made me think that maybe it's possible to also do it for other things. Anyway, so wait, what is that in remove n? Wait. So length is actually a thing. Length is actually a thing. So I guess what he did here, so remove n, we get list n and the short list. So append, if you remember, this is what we append, length prefix n. So here it generates, what the fuck does remove n do? Damn, it's so list is the result. Holy shit, like, this is some really intense stuff. So list is the result, short list is what we append, and prefix, oh my god, like, you see, holy shit, this one is really interesting. So remove n is basically like, this is a list, right? Imagine it's 1 2 3 4 and so on, and we have a length of 2. right? Prefix is something. We don't really care about the prefix, but we know its length is n, so its length is 2. And here it says that if we have this prefix and we append a shorter list on top of it, we obtain list. Damn, that's pretty cool way of doing it. That's a pretty cool way of doing it, actually. So yeah, I mean, pretty cool way of doing it. So what if we do something like remove n from our lines? The length is gonna be length of befores, and we are gonna get out lines 0, let's call it, right? And then we parse using lines 0, we parse updates. Right, and actually updates is just LL for now, but we'll have to shit, what? Length, okay. I forgot about that. You have to actually say things like befores, len befores, right? And here len befores. What? So we get something weird as the updates. What if I say just lines 0, because lines 0 is yeah, I guess maybe. What if I say end 0? I want, I already forgot. It's index, so first line from the updates, lines 0, x. What if we show x? So I have to do a +1 on len befores. So can I say len befores 1 is len befores +1, and then remove, or can I even say +1? I cannot. Interesting. What I can say is, okay, so now if I say first line from line 0 is actually the first line, right? 4, 7, yeah, it's the first line, perfect. Jesus. So line 0 right now is kind of the updates, but we have to parse them. So how are we gonna parse this stuff? So that's the first one, parse updates. I guess we have to parse a list of numbers, but yeah, let's see. Right, so my idea for parsing the updates is something like this. So we have the head and the tail of the list, right? And then we want to insert an U, and you'll see what U is, into our updates. I mean, it's kind of weird how Prolog actually works. Like, you have to think of this as the result, right? And what's after this operator, it's like the input, something like that. I don't know, it's pretty weird. Anyway, so here what we want to do is to use split string on h, and we want to split by comma. Like if you look at this stuff, we split by comma. Right. I'm not sure about pad, but I'm pretty sure we are gonna split into u. So u is gonna be that list. And then we are gonna parse updates. We're gonna parse updates of t and updates. And I think that what I missed is that here we need to say it's empty list. And maybe that's what I missed here too in parse befores. Maybe I have to say, okay, if like both of them are empty lists, right? Maybe that's what I have to do. Anyway, so then I have to parse updates lines 0 and updates. So now we got the updates, and let's see if it's gonna be a list of lists. That would be pretty nice. So it's actually, yeah, it's actually lists of lists, but at the end we have an empty list, which is kind of annoying. Why do we have an empty list? I guess, yeah, I know. We have an empty list because so when we read the lines, we have an extra new line at the end, so we have to somehow trim that. So do we have prolog strip string? So we want to strip the string of white spaces. Whatever. Let's not worry about it right now because we can just ignore it. So I guess I can do something like like we did here, right? But yeah, I don't know. So it's like if you have only one item left, right, we ignore it, and that's the idea. So that's how I do it. Okay, but how about this one, right? Like here, I mean, we could actually do kind of something similar, right? Like we did here, and just split h by vertical bar, right? That's the idea. So let's just do something like this. Let's just do something like this. So I would exactly like split h by vertical bar. And I just realized we don't even need to convert anything to ints, right? We don't care about it. Yeah, we don't even care about that. Okay, so here we have h, right? But I want to split it by vertical bar. So what I'm gonna do, split string h vertical bar. I don't know, like pad should be empty, I assume. And we are gonna get the befores, right? So here instead of actually I'm gonna put b into a list, or maybe it's just b like that. Let's call this one befores. Right, I think that should be good. Shit, illegal start of term. Where? 28. I have an extra parenthesis, okay. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good indeed. So let me just go back. Let's see. So this works like that. Okay. Why didn't it like splitting by... So split string h into b. Like, why didn't it like that? Let's split it by... Okay, nice. So now it actually worked and split the thing into rules. So now you can see that these are the befores that we actually need here, right? So that's pretty cool. So can we actually just... So correct only works on one item, right? So we have to do something like nth 0. We take the first item from the updates. So this is going to be the u. And then we can say correct, and then we need to pass in the update that we want to check and the befores. So is this gonna still work? It does. What if we try the second one? It works. And I think the third one should say false. Oh shit. Okay. I mean, second one was still true. But it's like... Third one should just say false, right? Why does it... Why doesn't it work? So third one was this one with 29 and 13, and 29... No, it's this one, which is the third one. And has some... But this one is one of the false ones, right? So the fourth one, for instance. So this one should just fail instantly. Why doesn't it fail instantly? That's a good question. Whoopsie doopsie. So I'm not sure what happens exactly in there. Correct many. Can I just have a map function? Prolog map list. So in correct many, I mean, it's kind of meh, but let's see. Correct many is gonna take in updates and befores. And can I do just map list? But the goal... So would be like correct. But I cannot... because how do I say... Yeah, I cannot do it like that. That's sad. So I'm gonna do... I mean, it's still fine. U and updates. Right? And this is gonna be correct of U and befores and correct many of updates and befores. and then the edge case, or like the empty case, is this one, which is true. But here it's like doesn't matter what before is. Okay. But like I don't get why this stuff doesn't work properly. Sweep PL, and let's try again correct. Right, we had this, like, does it matter if they are strings? That's interesting to know. Does it matter? Yeah, I don't think it should matter. It's false. Yeah, because obviously, and that's true. Oh my god. Hold. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, so it doesn't really matter if they are strings. It's pretty weird how I get that. Okay, and correct. Oh my god. I should install that plugin, but correct many, and correct many should be a list of lists. But see, like, I'm not sure about that extra thing. Okay, anyway, so yeah, I'm not sure why is that when it fails, it just shits the bed. Okay, but anyway, what's interesting about correct though is that what it's supposed to do actually, what it's supposed to do is to give me a list. So let's call it part one. Part one, right? Part one. Not sure why it's not working, but, and here the result is gonna be 0, right? And here we have the accumulator. So how can I say that if this thing is correct, I have to middle of the list, middle u, and I get an x, right? And then arc is arc plus x. Does that make sense? And then we continue with or, right? And here I need to pass in arc. Does that make sense? So lines before is, hopefully it makes sense, but I don't have middle now, right? So middle, and let's say that regardless of the input we will return 0 just to make it do something. I don't know, like at least let's count the things, right? So if I do correct many and I actually use part one, oh my god, what the fuck did I do? If I do part one, okay, like, let me just do an enter, but here I need to put x. Excuse me. Huh. I said, yeah, that's weird. Why did it fail like that? Oh, so here it says something something. Okay. Or maybe, fuck, shit. Middle U. So we had that. I don't have the example anymore. We get U and X, right? I don't know what to do with X. So we had that Prolog string length example, or list length, right? And this guy said when it's empty it's 0, as we did here, like the initial, and then L, list length, n plus 1. So I have to actually do maybe something like this, right? And this is gonna be accumulator 0, let's say, and this one is accumulator 0 plus x. So we iterate correct many of updates before and arc 0, and then arc is gonna be arc 0 plus x. So let's see if this one works. Creep. I mean, I know it's like a debugger thing, like you can creep into the execution, but what? Exception. So maybe here it doesn't matter, but it should be 0. Right, that's what this guy also said. It's like if it's empty, it's 0. And then it does list length axis and n, right? N. Here we have L, N. Accumulator 0. And then L is n plus 1. Why did it throw an exception? So I guess funny thing is this could be just a comma. So if it's true, then let's add 1. Let's just do plus 1. Still doesn't work. The fuck? Correct many. But it's exactly this code, right? Oh, so maybe this was not correct. Maybe it was like, oh, you're stupid for doing this, we use this instead. So let's use an accumulator then. So we have L. Yeah, okay, fine. Let's use an accumulator. So this is gonna be acc. All right, here we have, well, actually I'm just gonna, yeah, let's call it part 1, whatever, accumulator, right? And on our big case we have T and arc. So we have arc 0 and arc, right? Then we just add 1 to this T1. So we say something like, if it is correct, actually I mean this one should be like the result, let's say, and we have accumulator and result. If this thing is correct, then we say accumulator 1, so accumulator 0 for instance, is arc plus 1, let's say. right? And in here we pass in the new accumulator and the result. So here should be comma and here should be a dot. Is this thing gonna work? But I also need to pass in a 0. So I think the 0 should be like this. It still did an exception. Okay, let's remove this part. Is it the same thing? Is it the same thing? Let's see. So empty list LL. Accumulator. Empty list LL, and then we have before's ACK result. Okay, so maybe that was the problem. Maybe I have to say, okay, these two should be the same thing, or something like that. I don't know. Let's see. No. So I have ACK, then I have ACK result. I mean, I'm gonna just use LL and T just to make sure that it's the same thing. So here it's T, L, and then it's T1 is ACK. Oh, maybe I have to put I forgot about the semicolon there. But let's continue with T1. T1 is right. I mean, T1 is T1 is T plus 1. Let's just remove that. And then I do list length T1 and L. And the singleton variables. Okay, let's just fuck. It's still complaining. Oh, I'm calling a what? But no. Why is it calling correct many? Ah, shit. It was part 1. Oh my god. Okay, so that was the problem. I had like the wrong function name. Part 1. Jesus. So here, let's see if this thing works. Right? This should add 1. But see, it's like weird. Why is it? Like without, oh shit, without this part, it instantly just returned 1. But with a call to correct it. And what if I put or in here? But actually, I mean, I want it to go further as well. Oh shit. I mean, oops. Can I do this? Right, so I get 1, but what if I make it wrong? So 61, will it be 0? It's just gonna say false. But what if I do semicolon there? Doesn't work. Really? But like if this thing is false, right? So can I do it like this? arg0 is arg or something. So if I have it wrong, it's yeah. But what if I have another list here, which is fine, like 13. So nice. So now part 1 actually counts them, but I want to have middle actually. I want to do middle. So I'm actually gonna, can I do this? And is it still gonna work? Yeah, but see, like, why is it saying 1 0? Exclamation mark Prolog, like it has to do something with exclamation mark. So like Prolog continues, so it will not backtrack. So what if I say exclamation point? So don't backtrack. Fuck. Exclamation point? No. Huh. So how do I use, oh, so it's like that, maybe comma. So don't backtrack like that, I guess. Yeah, maybe that's a thing. So don't go back to backtrack this stuff if it fails. Like if it fails, right? That's what I want, I guess. Alright, so if it fails, but it returns 1 because one of them is right. Let's see, like if I add more stuff, for instance, I add again 61 and 13, and then I add another 29 and 13, which is gonna work probably. Right, so if I do this, yeah, it's 2, perfect. So wait, yeah, it's 2. So it's actually working as intended, right? Oh, that's not good. I wanted to add another one here. Yeah, and now instead of +1, I want to do middle, right? So middle, what is middle gonna do? What is middle gonna do? So here we are gonna have an axis, and this is gonna be our result, right? I need to get the length of axis into n, then n2 is n divided by 2, prolog int division div. Oh, so okay, n2 is div of n and 2, and don't quote me on that, but I think we need to do a +1. I think we need a +1 at some point. Let's call it n1, and then n2 is n1 plus 1. I think we need a +1, right? Because if the list has 1 element, it's going to be 0 plus 1, so that's the middle. And then we need nt0 to get the, from axis we need n2 from axis into x. So I think that's how we get the middle. Let's see. So if I say middle, 1 2 3 and x, we were close, but not the middle. So like what, div for 2, how big is it? Wait, how does div work? Int expression on, I might have to use is, x is 2. So if I have a length 3, no, I don't. Yeah, it's right, because I'm starting at 0, and the 0, I think it's like starting with 0. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's see, middle is 2. And if I add another element, no, doesn't make sense, because we are only gonna have not even, what was the like odd number of elements. So here I'm gonna do middle of our use, right? And we are gonna get the middle. I'm gonna call it m. It gives us the middle, and here it's m, but I want to convert it to integer, because this is not gonna work. Like if we are gonna run it and we are gonna try this, it fails because it found 13, right? A string, but it expects a number. So how prolog string to int, like it's like integer or something. Okay, no, number string. No. Oh, it's bidirectional. Holy, that's pretty cool, right? Like you can have, like, this function actually works to convert from number to string and from string to number, if you think about it. That's so cool, actually. So what we are gonna do is number string, and we are gonna try to get n from n, and here it's n, right? So now it should work. 26. So it's 13 in the middle, and then it's again 13 in this this one. Let me just do 33. Right, so it works somehow. It somehow works. It gives us part 1. It gives us the sum of all the middle numbers, and I think that's all we have to do. So I'm gonna say solution takes in updates, befores, and I might do like part 1, and let's do like part 1 updates, befores 0 part 1, right? That's how I call this guy, right? Yeah, 0 part 1. And yeah, that's what I'm not really sure about. Why if I say solution updates befores part 1, it doesn't like that. Right. And how do I actually print part 1? $143? Yo, that's insane, actually. That's fucking insane. If this thing works, next run, let's get day 5. I forgot, I have to, I'm way too excited. This shit actually works. That's insane. Okay, so let's see if we try to get, I fucked it. Let's try to get the input. Let's go back to day 05, and let's do, like, instead of catting the TMP, I'm gonna cat input day 05. It's slow. It's slow. Is it actually gonna work? Is it actually gonna work? It outputted something. That's already, and I mean, that was the correct answer. So if we, at least part one, if we get at least part one correct with Prolog, I'm happy. And I mean, come on, like, come on, let's be real. Let's be real about that. We actually got a solution in this godforsaken language. Like actually being able to read the input. I have no idea how printing works. Like I just copy pasted this stuff from an example, but it actually works. That's so cool. Okay, so that was part one. We actually got it. And I mean, the solution, if you think about it, is extremely easy, especially in Prolog. Like the hard part was reading the input, all right? Maybe I'm gonna skip. I think I'm gonna keep it full because maybe it's useful for someone. Like I know some people are learning this language in school, so should be useful for them. Like I wish I had a tutorial, but I never had a tutorial. And like another thing I learned is how good the documentation is. Like I never, like when I had this course in school, I never checked the documentation, and I was like, oh, I'm so stupid, I don't know how to do anything. But actually the docs are really good. They have a lot of functions that I didn't know existed. Right, so like the solution for part one is extremely easy. We have this before, which just checks that you know, two numbers are, I guess they're not even numbers, they're just objects. They are in the right order. Then before many checks that for all the rules in a list, and then correct just checks if it's correct. I mean, yeah, right. That's what it did. I mean, it's a bit weird. Before takes in two numbers. Yeah. Before takes in two numbers and the list of the rules. Yeah. So that's what it was supposed to. Anyway, let's see part two. Yeah, let's check part two. So for the second part, the elves are working on some updates. For each of the incorrectly ordered updates, use the page ordering rules to put the page numbers in the right order. For the above example, oh no. Here are the three incorrectly ordered updates and their correct orderings. So this one becomes like this. And this one becomes like this. So we need to take the incorrectly ordered updates and order them correctly. I don't think that's possible with Prolog. I don't know what to say about this one. And we need to take the middle page numbers. Oof. I mean, I saw this one coming. I don't think it's possible to do it Prolog. I'm afraid it's not. Let's see though. So for the second part, we are interested in the incorrect ones. Right. So we basically want it to be false. So like calling a not on it, right? That's interesting, not gonna lie. That's interesting. Wait, I can even say here part one, just to make the thing more nice. And it's also slow as fuck. Anyway. So yeah, I guess we can try and see if we can do this one in Prolog, but I doubt it. Like, unless the middle number doesn't change after the update somehow, but we'll have to see. Yeah, let's try to do it actually. And yeah, I mean, if it takes too long, then Python this bitch. But let's see. Let's try. I mean, we got part one, which is as I said, more than enough for me. But let's see if we can do something with part two. So again, we are gonna have accumulator, and part 2 is gonna be the same thing actually, right? But here the only difference is that we want the not correct ones. I'm gonna put the exclamation point, and let's see what happens if we just call to this stuff. So let's just do no ordering. So here we get part 2. But yeah, the question is, how are we gonna order this thing? Oh. Wait, what do you mean? Ah, I have a comma there, okay. Line 28. What do you mean? And line 37. Ah, another one. Yeah, so it shows the wrong answer, right? Because like for example, for the first one it's fine, but okay, how do you decide how to order them though? So I guess 75 and 97 are in a rule. Yeah, so we just swap them. Right, we just swap them. Then okay, so the cool thing is we might have to check if the middle like fixing the rules, right? That's annoying. I was thinking that since we are only looking at the middle, it has to be something to do with the middle, right? Like if the middle is breaking the rule, then we swap the middle and that's it. Like something really dumb like that. So 19 and 20, 13 and 29, they are probably in a rule or not. Yeah, they are. And then for this one with 47, this one is more complicated, I guess, because it's like what, 75 and 47, 47 and 61, 47 and like how 97. So this changes with which one? With the last one, 4713. There should be something like 4713, right? Yeah, so we swap them around. And then how about 47 and 75? 47, I mean 47 and 75, they are like that. So we swap them around as well. Yeah, maybe that's what we have to try and do. Like, if it's not correct, we take the first element and try to swap it based on the rule. Then we go to the next element. Again, if it's not correct. So let's say fix update is gonna take in an update is gonna take in an update all the befores. Shit, but it's pretty hard. Right, so first of all, we want to check if this update is correct or not. All right, that's the idea. Maybe not exactly. Maybe we assume it's wrong. So we have to do something like and yeah, that's also another one. What? So if I think about it, if we see that, you know, for instance, 13, if we start from left to right, what I assume will happen is we never break a rule from behind. That's what I'm gonna think. All right, that's what I think happens. Like if we swap around 13, we are never gonna swap back. We are only gonna swap forward, is what I assume. But the thing is that 13 probably appears in multiple rules as the beginning. So 47, 47, right? So it might be interesting to know which rule breaks the update. That might also be interesting. Maybe I like the last resort would be to try and use sort. I found this one, pred sort. We can try it. So the predicate, right? Like we need to like the idea with pred sort is it does sort, but it uses a predicate. So let's try to create this predicate. Like it should be based on the rules, which kind of sucks because how are we gonna pass in the rules? Right. I don't think there is a way to have Prolog higher order functions, higher order predicates. Like imagine I could create a list that contains element u and before. that could work. But can you have higher order predicates? Or like what the fuck? Prolog lambda lambda function. Let's say lambda function because that's like with lambda expressions. Fuck. So like the idea for part 2, right? The idea for part 2 is let's try to bring back the not correct one, right? So if it's not correct, we do all of this stuff like before. Shit, what? So if it's not correct, then we take the middle. Wait, how I did it before? Okay, we don't need the reverse anymore. Wait, what? I'm confused. Ah, yeah, I didn't see that. Okay, anyway. So we get the same thing as before. The idea is, let's try to sort. So I'm gonna do something like fix of u befores and u0, and then here we pass u0, right? And fix is just gonna take in updates, befores, and sorted. That's gonna be the output. So the question is, how can we use pred sort? We give it some predicate, the list of updates, and sorted. That's what we have to do. But for pred sort, we need like to give it this before somehow in the predicate. So how can we have maybe it's time for ChatGPT, right? Hire Prolog like it's something like closures, but I don't get it. Prolog closure example. Like, how can I have a closure? Higher order function example. Right, like, because the predicate here takes in element 1, element 2, and returns a delta. Alright, so the ordering, let's call it ordering, takes like it returns delta and takes element 1, element 2. But the problem is I need to pass it the befores so I can check if it exists. Shit, how can I do that? I'm not sure. Okay, that's fucking insane. Like with call. Okay, let's see. Prolog call. Call 1. Call goal. Call. So I can call true. Map list predicate. Call predicate, call predicate. Like it has to be something with call, I guess. Call to plus 1. So here it says this: append extra arguments to the argument list of goal. So I can do something like call ordering befores. So that means befores comes in here too. So if I just return 0, so it's like no sorting, it's not gonna do anything. Oh shit. found 0, what the fuck? Wait, so append to the arguments. For example, call plus will call plus 1 to x. So if I say call okay, maybe this guy here, let's see. So call, what the fuck? Okay, this seems like a good explanation for me. So it says, for example, call plus 1 and then 2 and x. We'll call plus 1 to x. So like call ordering. Still doesn't make sense. Sort using call. Sort predicate. Bubble it. Okay, like the fuck. Useless. How can this work then? So you can see here it's like already calling it. For example, call something and the error is expected callable. Let's see. Prolog. No, callable. The Prolog standard defines a callable. So then ordering doesn't get any arguments. Callable A. The fuck? This is insane. So that means I could just do what? Like call doesn't seem to be used, I guess. Like I can just say something like this then. Right, and it gets the befores and then it has to return a function somehow. Expected callable. So how can then this be used? Okay, so like strangely enough, I somehow figured this one out, and what I realized was that I was dumb because I was putting here like 0 and that doesn't make sense. It's not really like a function. So I realized that if I have the ordering of befores, I call here on befores, it actually transforms it into a higher order function by default. So I had here like delta is less than, and that worked. So I'm getting the, I guess this doesn't like that, but when I had something like that and it was doing nothing, so it wasn't really doing anything. But now I changed it to as I said something like this: if we find that E should be before, like E1 should be before E2, right? That's in the pred sort. E1 should be before E2. um, based on our rules, then we order that like ascending. But if we find that E2 should be before E1, we order these two items descending, and otherwise it's just equal based on, like, doesn't matter. So yeah, like they're equal basically. So yeah, basically that's what fixed it. And we are actually getting the 1, 2, 3 result, which is also in here. So if I'm going to try the main input, it's gonna take a while as it did for the first part, but damn, like that's like, this is the solution I said I wanted to see, right? Something extremely simple. And I guess my mistake was that I didn't look for a sort. I didn't look for sort, even though I'm pretty sure I would have found it. Even though in the back of my mind I kind of knew that sort is a thing. So yeah, let's see. And we actually got it. And yeah, we got both answers. That's so cool. So yeah, like day 5 in Prolog. I mean, I'm pretty amazed that I actually got it in both parts. But yeah, like that's what I searched, right? Like, is there a way to do sort with Prolog? And actually there was. And yeah, that was my, so part 1 is just counting the correct ones, and part 2 we get the wrong ones and we call fix. The rest of the code is the same, so if we just compare part 1 with part 2, they are basically the same thing, right? Except here we do the correct ones and here we do the wrong ones and we fix them. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty successful, all things considered, right? Yeah, I really liked trying Prolog. So yeah, and unfortunately we didn't fail right in the beginning, so I won't do common Lisp today, but we'll see. I'm gonna try tomorrow. So tomorrow is gonna be, hopefully it's gonna be another easy day. Like this one was pretty easy if you think about it, but yeah. So I guess that's it for today. We actually managed to solve the problem with Prolog, so that's quite fun. So yeah, let's see in the next one. So see you.